humans. I have a lovely human to my right, John Oxenford.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be my very dear friend, some ways irreplaceable, but I'll look for a replacement, Anthony Donahoe. Passed away Labor Day of this year. Yesterday was his birthday. So let me see if I can get him on the screen.
Yeah.
There he is. And I think if I do this, no, not quite. Well, let me just, no, I don't want to.
I think it looks good. People can see that probably.
There we go. I'm learning.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Yes. Hi, Tony. I can feel you looking at me. Oh my, can you feel the love in that? It's a very, and the humor, both.
It's like he's talking to us.
Yep. Oh my. And the cry, Tom. Although I feel you with me more than when you were alive. I mean, he was a friend, but I seem to be able to, because I miss him so much, I feel him often.
Mm. Do you believe in the afterlife?
Yeah, yes.
Mm. I do too.
I haven't had as much experience as you.
Mm. We were just talking about my grandparents.
Yes.
And I was just talking about communicating with them.
Yes.
After they passed away.
And you both, it's a two-way communication, or?
Yeah. It's not so much of a conversation, but I do feel like I can sense their presence, and that they're in some way, not verbally, but some way communicating with me. I think. You
feel their love, or?
Yeah, love's always there.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely want them to know that I'm being responsible about my life. I think that's one thing that I really get from them is they're looking and, you know, they love me, we're family, but they want me to see you doing some proper work. You know?
Whoa! It's a tough love family.
No, not exactly, but maybe they...
Oh, we can come through. Look at this. John, look at. We're coming through the picture. Hi, Tone. Hi, audience. It's John Oxenford. I'm Michael Coran. This is A Human Among Humans. Maybe we'll sing happy birthday to Anthony.
Sure.
Yesterday, I think he would have been 66.
Wow, good number.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tony. Happy birthday to you. I'm tempted to say many more, wherever he is.
Many more, yeah.
Yes, forever. Okay, now if I can find us. There we are. So, we're going to explore grief. John was telling me he felt some grief when your grandmother died, yes? And I didn't know to call it grief, but when my mother died, I had to put a jar in a pot and take a hammer. I didn't even know why I was doing this. And bang the jar.
Oh, wow.
And it broke. Yeah. And for reasons I don't totally understand, I felt better after that.
Oh.
Whereas before, my teacher was telling me, pound the couch with your fists, and I was doing that. It didn't help at all. But after he left, I got a hammer and broke the jar in the pot.
So your grief was coming through in aggression, maybe?
I'm not even sure to call it grief, but I was feeling very bad. I wasn't so good on feelings. I was born before you. Men like you have at least a better opportunity to get in touch with your feelings, I think.
Wow.
So I don't understand. I thought you'd explain to me why I felt better.
Oh, you felt better? Well, I mean, I don't know your relationship between, who was it?
My mother.
Your mother and yourself, but what I would think about that is that just anger that someone you love passed away. Why does it have to be like this? Why was the world or life made like this?
Oh, I see.
You know, why does it have to happen like that? But not knowing your backstory, I wouldn't be able to diagnose what you were feeling or whatever. But that's what it seemed to me.
Yeah, it felt, I don't know what it was, maybe breaking our relationship this life. With Tony, I felt a little angry that he didn't talk to me about his sickness. Tony had, I think you know it, lymphoma.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he didn't.
I remember hearing that last time in the
and
show.
Decided to stop chemo without discussing it. I don't think with anyone. I mean, he might have, but knowing Tony. So, but maybe, as our friend Sarah said, maybe it was time. He had many, many pains. And maybe, but we had such a joy for life, too. So, I don't know if these poems, let's see if we can get them on the screen now. He should have taught you how to do this.
Well, they're there with the picture of Tony, and then you went upside to the top left there with the mouse, and enlarging the picture. So
maybe it will.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You're so good. You are so good. So I'll read it first, and you'll tell us what it means to you.
Okay.
This is very famous. It's a particular poetic form. One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these things will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster. Some realms I own, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them. But it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing is not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. Well, we're lucky to have John Oxenford, who will help us understand what this grieving poem means. So you can read a line or two and tell us what it means to you, if you would like.
Sure. Yeah, I think. Well, the first line is the entire sort of theme of the poem. I think it's losing isn't hard to master because everybody loses constantly throughout this life. So it's not hard to master, and there's such a distance from loss. I mean, she talks about loved ones and continents and cities. But it's not too hard to master because it happens every day.
Oh, we get practice. We get practice.
So
it's sometimes hard for me. I lose names. I'm twice your age, over twice your age. Names. Walk into a room, not quite know what. As I open the refrigerator, what was it I was trying to get?
And then she relates it to losing keys, and all these little things. And then she brings up her father. So it's kind of distancing herself, or the person who's reading it, from the attachment.
Yes.
Even if it was as much as a continent, that they lost. I think it's a very tragic way to say it, but it's also sort of keeping oneself from the harm that might happen.
Yeah, there's some humor in it, I think.
Where?
I think the whole thing. It's not too hard to lose things, and it's like a whole city or 3 homes. Yeah. Oh my!
I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
So it gets harder. Get older, and then the hardest one, which makes me think of tone, even losing you, the joking voice. Oh, that's so Tony.
I was wondering, is he thinking of Tony when he says this?
No. A gesture I love, I shan't have lied. And then she says, maybe listening to you, it's evident the hard art of losing's not too hard. It's changed. Not too hard to master.
Oh, interesting note there.
Yeah, not so easy anymore. And it may look like, and she doesn't want to write it, but she knows the honesty of telling her truth. Write it. It may look like disaster. Someone you're really close to. So I feel like crying. I feel I've got company with this poet. So I'm not alone. And all the people who've read this poem.
It's fascinating to think, really.
Say that again?
It's fascinating to think, countless numbers of people who've read the poem before may have had the same feelings.
Yeah, it makes a family.
Yeah, makes a human race.
the poem makes a community of people who've loved this poem. This, I believe, is a sestina.
What's that?
I had to look it up. It's This poem and the one that follows it are the two most famous sestinas in the English language.
Oh, wow.
And ses means six.
Mm.
And you have repeated phrases.
Mm-hmm. Master, disaster.
No disaster.
Mm.
Hard to master isn't hard to master.
Mm.
And they repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't hard to master. And she changes it a bit, not too hard to master.
Interesting. Okay. That's actually such a, a three-letter word, but it means so much in the actual, how the poet was feeling before they might even written the poem.
I mean, say that again.
It's a three-letter word, and I didn't even notice it, but too hard.
Yes, too
yeah,
hard.
It's just that. Well, yeah, maybe I am connected to this somehow, and I'm not gonna say that. Oh, it's easy to master this loss because I've lost my kids.
Yeah. This one is not so easy.
Not too hard.
Tone is. How can I say this? I had a younger brother, my youngest brother, who stopped talking to me, and I loved him, and he was funny. We'd go to the movies, and then we'd go eat for just a game. We walked down 2 different staircases from the balcony, got to the first floor, and rushed into each other's arms, yelling each other's names as if we haven't seen each other for years.
Wow.
And we smiled when people looked at us. Then we went out and we pointed up to the sky, and other people looked up, and we smiled again. There was nothing to see.
Wow.
But we would love playing around.
That's awesome.
He'd wake me in the morning and say, "Mike, are you up or you're sleeping? I don't want to wake you. Tell me if you're asleep."
That's funny.
So I loved him and had fun with him, which is I didn't have with most people. But for various reasons we won't go into here, I'm sure I contributed a lot. He stopped talking to me. And when I met Tony, I decided he will replace my lost brother.
Wow.
And we've had so much fun in 20 years, Tony and I.
Wow.
I could say all kinds of nasty things to him and him to me. I was a person I could just, whatever came to me, I spoke. It was great practice. I've never done that before. So, I don't know if I could find someone to replace Tony after Tony replaced my brother. I don't know. I mean, I like Marty, but it's different. I mean, I'm not sure Marty and I will laugh. I think I need someone I would laugh with. And
Who's Marty?
Marty is one of Tony's best friends. He was there at the family gathering. I don't know if you remember him. Martin Hanley.
I remember his brother.
No, Martin was. Well, you'll meet him sometime.
Oh.
He's close to Phyllis. Phyllis, Tony, and Martin used to. Okay, I think that's it. It's very different reading this while thinking of someone, really Tony, who's died, rather than just reading it to understand it, be moved by it, be moved of the beauty.
I see.
I'm not sure I could say what the difference is. I think it makes me feel, as I said, that I guess a funeral can help you feel that. I didn't quite. We're not alone in grieving. Well, unless you have more to say, why don't you read this for us?
Sure.
One last time.
Sure.
Let's see if I can. No.
Using the top left.
Top left.
Oh, yeah. Top left somewhere.
No.
Yeah.
There it
There
is.
you go. Okay. So, One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys. The hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last, or of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, loved ones, and vaster some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love. I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing. The art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster.
Wow. So you really feel you're right with her when she says write it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just right happening at the moment.
Feeling it. There it is. Write it. It is hard. It is difficult.
What a beautiful poem. I think it might help grief, grief is a form of love.
Mm.
It means I love you, Tony,
Mm.
and I'll miss you. I'll miss you. I miss you. So it's the, I'm not sure if it's the price of love, but it's
Something that you know might happen, will happen one day.
for all of us. Will people will grieve us when we go. There was one song way before your time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't turn the lights out when I die. I need all the power I can get. Okay. Now, this is the other most famous sestina in the English language.
Mm-hmm. Do not go gentle into that good night.
Yeah, this is Dylan Thomas,
Mm.
who maybe didn't, died in his 30s
Oh,
of
right.
drinking.
Oh no. My friend's friend just passed away because of drinking.
Tom would have liked this. I'm not sure he did it, alas, at all. Maybe. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rage at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late. They grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now, with your fierce tears I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. What do you feel and think?
I think this is in relation to death, rebellion against death, a rebellion against the inevitable death of things, but not to be so sad that you lose your life, you know, lose your light. I think this is about, you know, turning, as it says, turning that, maybe that grief, that maybe even depression. You know, when he says rage and rage, you know, let those emotions out and don't let it just go silent and give up.
Wow.
To fate.
I don't know about my friend Tom. Dying alone in the room and staying there for 7 days. I don't know. I thought I would accept it. I once was teaching elderly people who were mostly younger than I am now, poetry, and we were talking about the afterlife, just like you asked me. And many people who were taught to believe in it, I could see they were saying, I believe, but I don't think they really did. They weren't allowed to be scared. They thought they had to be a good religious person and believe what they were told. And the only woman who seemed to be quite fine with death, only person really, she was 93, even older than me, and she had a smile on her face. Eyes were partially closed. And she says, I don't know. We'll find out. And that was, I thought, a wonderful way. And not raging at all.
Interesting.
Because there was someone who was younger, in his 50s, who kept walking around. I think he had a fatal disease, maybe Parkinson's, and kept saying, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? that didn't seem like a happy way to go. But this 93-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
And my woman friend, one hard mantra that she has, I have to remind her, she seldom occasionally remembers. You'll meet her one day, I'm sure. She says, whatever's going on, why is this happening for me? Which is wild.
Yeah. Maybe if, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe feeling guilt for feeling happy.
Why this is happening? Who? Which one?
Your lady, your mother friend, your woman friend.
No. Feeling guilt for complaining so much, actually.
Oh, really?
Because, why do I have this hard situation? Or all kinds of things. Why do I have a cancer? And to say why this is happening for me is a very positive attitude.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some gift in this for me. I have to find out, even though it's hard. Now, what about his father?
Yeah.
That last line, last stanza. And you, my father, I think he was dead, there on the sad height. Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray.
Or you could say it in another way. You could say, because there's a comma there, the two commas there.
Yeah.
Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears.
And what would that mean to you?
It kind of, the first two words are sort of onomatopoeia, His father is going through something tragic.
Yeah.
He's looking at them. Curse this event. Bless this situation. Bless my father. Bless me. Bless everything. Me now with your fierce tears. How does seeing your fierce tears make me feel?
Wow.
You see? Does that make sense?
Maybe to be blessed by the father.
Yeah.
A father can both feel angry and feel blessed. But he wants the father to rage. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless me, thank you. Why does he want the father to rage? Why rage when the light seems to be going out? A few months ago, I felt like a very old man. My neighbor said I walked like I was in my mid-90s. Every step was hard. I since learned if I exercise twice a day, I have way more zip.
That's good.
I had to learn that.
You should exercise every day of your life.
Yes, twice. I have to do morning and evening.
That's a good thing.
Just a little.
Very healthy.
So maybe that was, if I had just accepted, maybe one, okay, the time is that. It was great to just know. So maybe he means that. Anything else?
The Father, the Son, no, I don't think I found anything. The meteors, blind eyes could blaze like meteors, and be gay, happy. I don't know. It's interesting.
So what is even the people that? Let me just look at that. Brave men near death, but they see that blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Well, maybe they finally see that I could just be happy.
It's funny, I was just walking here and I was just thinking, is my sight getting worse? You know, I need my glasses.
Yeah, I have to bring them now to CV.
Yeah. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors, you know. Even if you're blind, you know, your life's not over. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Even if you have cancer,
and its blinding sight is so dazzling to see we could live every day like a meteor, just blazing through the day. So they would want to rage against the dying of light. Remember the way I did? Tone, you didn't. Ah! He just stopped his chemo and raged against me and other friends. Love you anyway, Tony. Okay, take it away, John Oxenford.
Okay.
With the title and then the poem.
Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their ends know dark is right, because their words have forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against that dying light. The dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding light, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, here, there, on the sand, on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against that dying of the light. Try to say that one.
Say that again.
A few errors on that.
Yes, I still got it.
Yeah, good.
Still moved me.
Yeah.
And so the sestina is a great power in hearing the same, it's like a song.
Cool.
Hearing the same line again and again in a different context.
Okay.
Right? Rage, rage against the dying.
So using that sort of one line concept in each piece of the poem and relating it to different things?
Yep.
Cool.
And there's a great rhyme scheme, which you can maybe not... There's in both of them.
Right.
There's night, day. These are the last words of each line. Right, they, night, bright, bay. So it's the sound weaves all of these thoughts into a dance where I almost can change partners, different. I'm not sure what that would mean, but as if different feelings could come and then come back in a different context or a slightly different context. So it's an intricate rhyme scheme and an intricate repetition of do not go gentle into that good night, or the art of losing isn't hard to master. Well, we have more treats for you.
Yeah.
We still have almost 20 minutes.
Excellent. A sonnet.
Yes,
Shakespeare.
I seem to keep saying this now to my woman friend as we went to the Arboretum. As the leaves are falling from the trees, some yellow ones ginkgo trees are in the Arboretum, and they're very nourishing as a tea.
Oh, right.
And I think they're the oldest tree in the world. The yellow leaves. And this poem, oh, I have to get it. Uh-huh. By Billy Shakespeare. Also, this is a very intricate form. This is a sonnet. You'll see a lot of rhyming.
Yeah, I did a sonnet once in the English Speaking Union's national Shakespeare competition.
You did?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I won the Massachusetts branch, and I was like 21th place in the national one. But I did sonnet 23 and a monologue from Twelfth Night by the character Sebastian.
Oh, you acted them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just the monologues.
Wow.
Yeah.
That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away death's second self, that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie. As the deathbed, whereon it must expire, consumed by that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong. To love that well which thou must leave ere long.
Okay. I think this one is about leaving family or parents. Just paying more attention to the end of it. An interesting one for me was Death's Second Self.
Yes.
That seals up all in rest. Maybe just sort of saying two different reasons for death. Seeing death as a character. Death is to kill you, but death is also to put things to rest.
Yeah, even every night.
Yeah. Sleep.
Black night does take away, yes. And I think it's also, I can see that, being 81, not so much today as when I was really walking like a 94-year-old. You lose your powers as you get older. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Memory. When I play basketball with Michelle, she beats me. Yeah. When I run, I walk, really. People think I'm walking when I'm running. And for this poet, and Shakespeare in his time, being 50 was old.
Wow.
Because he died, he wrote all these plays. He died when he was 52, an old man.
Fascinating.
And he feels like a bare, ruined choir where late the sweet bird sang. He would sing so many, his plays were like songs, and he would sing them. And yet this woman, I think that's what the last line means. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long. That she must leave him, maybe because...
It's such like a Romeo and Juliet type line right there.
Yes. Except for older people. Or maybe one older and one not so old. Touches my heart, these poems, reading them with you. Wow. I can feel the strength of the love between the woman he's writing to, I think a woman or man, who knows, and it's a great thing to read if you have a young girlfriend.
The sonnets, aren't the sonnets all about love? I think they are.
That's a great question.
I should know this, but I think they are.
There's 156 of them.
No kidding.
Are they all about love? What others do I know? The ones I know are about love. Maybe they all are. Wow. I don't know any that are not.
I don't know the sonnets that well, but I feel like I remember when I was working on one, just sort of looking through which one should I choose for the competition. They were all about love.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Okay, take it away, John Oxenford.
Okay. Sonnet 73. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, by William Shakespeare. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long.
Wow. Well, if I'm brave, I might read this to I have a dear friend who's 23 and a half years younger than me.
Wow.
So I might read this to her. And now, thank you for staying with us. This is John Oxenford. I'm Michael Karam. We're exploring poems of grief. We've saved the last one. This is the hardest one.
Yeah, this one I was reading it over in the email you sent me. I just thought, I'm going to stumble all over this. It was difficult for me to read.
It's written in what's called sprung rhythm. It's a different kind of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret, are you grieving over goldenrod on leaving?
Mm-hmm.
So he was a very unhappy man.
Unhappy?
Yeah, very. He was he has such poems as, God, if you hated me, you couldn't treat me worse than the way you're treating me now.
Wow.
He was gay, but not acting on it, and a priest.
Oh.
And that was a bind he was in. Maybe if he was brave and took a lover, he might have felt way, way better.
I'm reading this book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Eat, Pray, Love, and she has a divorce which makes her feel just deeply depressed. She's in so much pain, and so she decides to take a year of celibacy and go to Italy for 3 months, to India for 3 months, and to Indonesia 3 months. Italy to enjoy, India to pray and meditate, and Indonesia to talk to this old medicine man that she thought would sort of change her life in his knowledge about stuff, just all the medicine man stuff, and then she's finally, I don't want to be a plot spoiler here, but she finally decided after something like 8 months or something to have a relationship with this man she was interested in, and it hasn't turned into something terrible and tragic, so even though she was really worried that she'd just get way too caught up again, she's found happiness in Indonesia, and is able to go back to her previous romantically active life.
Wow.
So,
Hope for all of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This spring.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes for this very difficult last poem, but thank you for staying with us. I hope your grief has been helped, like mine has been, by joining these poets as they grieve. To feel the beauty of grieving. Grieving is a form of love, really. Love you, Tony. So this is a challenging one. Spring and fall to a young child. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove? I'm leaving. Leaves, like the things of man, you with your fresh thoughts care for. Can you? As the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder, by and by, nor spare a sigh the worlds of winewood, leave me a lie. And yet you will weep, and know why. Now, no matter, child, the name. Sorrow's springs are the same. Nor mouth had, no, nor mind expressed what heart heard of. Ghost guessed. It is the blight man was born for. It is Margaret you mourn for.
I think that those last 2 lines really explain it for me, because I wasn't quite sure. I know he's talking to a child, and man is referenced a few times in there, but seems like he's sort of defining Margaret's mourning as for herself. This is something a man must do, and she's grieving for the pain she feels from that, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
Close to that. That she might be sad because of the fall. you know, as it is now for us, the leaves are just about are going,
Mm-hmm.
which is a form of getting ready for winter and dying,
Mm-hmm.
and for those of us who are older, dying, or Tony dying. But she's young,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just sad that the leaves are turning gray or brown. But she will grow old, he's telling her. And then you will discover this is what all of us, children don't quite know we're going to die in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, till recently. And it's, oh, the blight of all humanity that we die. So you're mourning not for the leaves that have gone. You're mourning for, well, you'll eventually see this, for yourself.
Wow. It's deep.
Well, we can go out, you can read a little of it. We only have
40 seconds.
yes, but you can just read the beginning.
Okay.
Goodbye, happy grieving. We love you, Tone, or I do.
Spring and Fall to a Young Child by Gerald Manley Hopkins. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove unleaving? Leaves, like the things of men, you with your fresh thoughts care for, can you? Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder, by and by, no, nor spare a sigh, and it's over.
It's over. Wow, thank you very much.